Hello, everyone, and welcome into my March Madness bracket predictions. This is the funnest video to film every single year. This is the first year. Yeah, I've been doing this on YouTube, but I have done bracket predictions every year for the last, probably 6 or 7 years. Um, really, since I started really getting into college basketball. But yeah, let's just get right into this. The first 4 games were awesome to watch last night. What a win for Texas on the Tremont Mark game winner, and then UMBC has a chance to tie it at the buzzer. They miss it, and Howard wins that game. But I just want to start this with Duke's probably going to win pretty easily against Siena. Siena's coach, obviously Syracuse legend Jerry McNamara. I don't know if that's common knowledge to college basketball fans, but I feel like most college basketball fans do know that he's coaching. And Nolan Smith also coaching for 15th seeded Tennessee State. We'll get to them later. If we want to go into the preview here, which is a nice feature here, Gavin Doty looks to be pretty good for Siena, but obviously Cam Boozer, Isaiah Evans. Hopefully they can get Caleb Foster back if they do make a deep run. But yeah, I'm gonna take Duke here, and then I kind of like clicking on these previews. But TCU Ohio State, I think I'm gonna make all 25 brackets. I might have Ohio State in 13, TCU in 12, TCU in 13, Ohio State in 12. It is that close for me. Ohio State is short favorites. They have 63% odds to win. About 60% of people are picking them. Here's some of their notable results on both sides. Obviously, David Punch, great for TCU. Xavier Edmonds has been good. Bruce Thornton, happy to see him get into the tournament. Ohio State, with him and John Mobley, they got a nice backcourt that I really like. Punch for TCU. This one kind of split on. I think, though, I'll go with... I think I'm gonna go with Ohio State. I just think Bruce Thornton has to win a March Madness game in his career. I think he's gonna come up huge late in the game, and I just really like this backcourt for Ohio State. But this game could go either way. I'm gonna pick TCU probably in about 12 or 13 brackets, and probably Ohio State in about 12 or 13 brackets. But I will pick the Buckeyes here. Let's move on to St. John's versus Northern Iowa. Maybe got to speed this up a little bit. Trey Campbell, been really good for UNI. And then they got another freshman. Yeah, I believe he's a freshman guard that's really good. I can't think of his name, or maybe I am just thinking of Trey Campbell. But yeah, he's been really good, especially what he did in the title game of their conference. I didn't really watch that because that was when I was really sick. And of course, that's why I wasn't filming these videos. I should have said that earlier. But I just got really sick with the stomach flu. So I was kind of half sleeping through some of these games. But I remember seeing he had a really good conference title game. And I don't know. I just think that with Zuby Ejiofor, with Bryce Hopkins, this team is just too big, too physical for Northern Iowa. I think that Northern Iowa is probably going to cover the 9.5, but I'll take St. John's to win by probably 7 points, something like that. Cal Baptist versus Kansas. I mean, Dominique Daniels is really, really good. He's one of the top scorers in all of college basketball. I think everybody's kind of been learning about him, in this last week or two. If you didn't know him before, which I knew the name, but I hadn't really watched much of him before, about a little bit ago, maybe a week ago. But what I'm saying is a week ago, the name kind of, everybody now knows who Dominique Daniels is. I watched, a lot of his game, especially in these past couple days when I've been feeling quite a bit better. But yeah, Darren Peterson, of course, for Kansas. I think that what are California Baptist's notable results? They really haven't competed too well with. They played Utah Valley 4 times. How is that possible? Wait, what? How is that possible that they is this a mistake? So they played them on December 29th, January 24th. Wait. I don't know. That's a bit weird. I'll have to look that up if that actually did happen. This one, I think Kansas could really beat anybody or lose to anybody. And that's what makes this so hard. But I do think ultimately in this game, it could end up going either way. And, I've kind of gone all chalk so far. I'm going to take Cal Baptist. I really like Dominique Daniels. I'm going to take them absolute stunner to beat Kansas. I really think Kansas could lose to, a lot of teams on a bad day. And I really think that, this Kansas team is susceptible to losing in the first round, which is what I will predict here, as my mouse wasn't working for a second there, so I had to fix it. But we're back on. USF Louisville. Yeah, Isaiah Nelson, the player of the year in the American. They got guys like Wes Ennis too, who can shoot the 3-ball really well. But obviously, Louisville has an awesome backcourt. I can try to. Yeah, I'm bad at highlighting these players, which I'm trying to do. I'm just not. I don't know how to do that. But, I'm doing my best, but it's not really working. But yeah, Michael Brown, Ryan Conwell, guys like that. But Ryan Conwell, Michael Brown, I don't know if he's going to play, and I think he will, but even if he does, I don't think he's going to be at 100%. And I really like, this USF team with Wes Ennis, with Isaiah Nelson. I'm going to take USF. Am I picking too many upsets so far? I don't know. This is another upset I can see. Jeremy Fears, obviously, a lot of your casual fan just knows him for some of the kind of dirty stuff he's done, but he's been an amazing player. I really know nothing about this North Dakota State team. Watched a little bit of that title game against North Dakota. Let's look at some of their notable results. They got losses to Oregon State, Arkansas State, UC Irvine, St. Thomas, wins against St. Thomas, Drake, Jacksonville State, and Southern Illinois. They don't really have a win that impresses me too much. I think this upset could happen. I think that Michigan State, it's not a guarantee that they're going to go super far in this tournament, but I'm going to at least pick them to move past the first round. Because I think they're a pretty good squad. Next game, we got UCLA and UCF. Yeah, love Themis Folks and, Ryan Kugley for UCF. They've got a great backcourt there. And I think that Tyler Bilodeau and Donovan Dent are going to play, but they've been a little bit injured, a little bit banged up recently. And I also think UCLA just sucks on the road. So I'm going to take UCF and not going to think twice about it. I'm going to take UCF to move on. I think that they can pretty easily get the job done against UCLA. And UCLA has been playing some really, really good ball at the Big Ten tournament, which is, not at home for them. So I think that they do got a shot because of what I've seen there. This next game, Furman, UConn. I think that, and I've done a lot of research on this Furman team. Alex Wilkins, amazing freshman guard for them. Cooper Bowser is a monster down low. And this team, they only have one of their top 6 players as an incoming transfer. from last year to this year, they only brought in one transfer, that has scored in the top 6 of their team. It's a top 6 scorer on their team. And, 4 of the 6 top scorers are returners. And then Wilkins is a freshman. I really like, I really like what I've seen from this Furman team. And, they have some competitive results. I guess, it's not exactly showing it here. It's not backing up my point. But they won I believe at some point in the regular season, they won 13 games in a row. And then they just, had injuries really hurt them. But then, they were able to come back as, I believe, the 6th seed in the tournament. And I was saying that this team is one of the best 16 seeds we've ever seen when they were projected to be a 16 seed, especially in a play-in game. I'm totally taking Furman. I haven't loved how UConn's looked, especially in the St. John's game. I'm going to take the Paladins to move on to the second round of the March Madness tournament. Stunner to probably everybody watching this. Yeah, I don't need to click in too much. I'm going to take Florida here. I don't need to look at really much analytics or whatever. I'm going to take Florida. Yeah, I think Bennett Sturts is easily the best player in this game. And, we saw what Iowa or what Drake last year did. They don't have many big wins, but I think this Clemson team is a team I can trust them to beat. We saw that they were able to get a tournament win last year as an 11 seed at Drake with a lot of the same guys. So I'll take Iowa to move on here as... Yeah, my mouse is just not working no more, so I'm just going to click on these games because this is a touchscreen, so I'm just going to click because my mouse does not want to work anymore. Yeah, McNeese, they got Larry Johnson. He's been really good this year for them, but I just love the backcourt, on Vanderbilt with, the experience, too, of a guy like Deuce Miles. And Tyler Tanner, just the jump he's taken from his freshman to sophomore year. I am going to take Vanderbilt to win this game. Let's move on to Troy versus Nebraska. Yeah, if Troy wins this game, But I want to see Nebraska get their first ever win in March Madness. They're the only power conference school or high major team that has not done that. So, yeah, I want to see Nebraska be able to do that, so I'll pick them to move on. And then VCU, North Carolina. Yeah, Caleb Wilson, not going to play. Even guys like Vassar, points of the season, have missed a lot of games, and I think this team has just kind of gotten unlucky injury luck. Interesting thing about VCU, Terrence Hill is their leading scorer. I believe he comes off the bench in most games. And the Djokovic, the Charleston transfer has been good. They've got they got some high major transfers. I believe one from, an Oregon team that was pretty good last year. And I think that this VCU team doesn't have a ton of big wins, but at the same time, I'm not too worried because if you look at the teams that are on here that they've lost to, tournament team, not a tournament team, and then they have 2 wins. So they've had, even in their notable losses, they've been competitive games against good teams. I mean, look at the NC State and Utah State ones I got on the screen. And then the other ones don't back them up quite as well. But I liked how they played. I really thought they handled not VCU. They are VCU. Dayton in the conference championship game. I'm going to take VCU to win this. I just think North Carolina, too injured. And I'm not afraid to pick an upset. Yeah, Illinois Penn, everybody knows this by now. TJ Power, 44-14. He was a 5-star recruit, went to Duke, then went to Virginia. Then a guy that tried to recruit him to Iowa out of high school and in his first time in the transfer portal, Fran McCaffery, gets him on his third attempt now that he's at Penn. And then they go on this crazy, well, I don't want to call it a run, but they pulled off 2 pretty big upsets in the conference tournament. A big upset against Harvard and a big upset against Yale. And I mean, at the end of that game, that was crazy. He just kept hitting threes to keep him in it. Keaton Wagler, Penn amazing. I mean, he was what? I forget what website or recruiting rankings it was, but I thought I saw he was like 251 on one site and then like 150 on another site. Like, wow. But if we want to go look at Penn's notable results, they haven't done much against anybody. I mean, if you even look at these losses, look at how big the Providence loss is, and look at how big the Villanova loss is. The really only one they kept it close was against Rutgers, and they're not very good. I do think Illinois can play down to competition at times. I mean, kind of saw it against Maryland in that regular season finale. That game was either very competitive or they were losing for like most of it. I think this game is going to be competitive, but I'm going to take Illinois to advance. Let's move on. St. Mary's, Texas A&M. I mean, you know, just with the pace of play that St. Mary's plays at versus, you know, Buckyball, this is going to be really entertaining. But I just think that I like kind of the experience on the St. Mary's side. And I think that they've beaten Gonzaga, they've beaten Santa Clara. And usually, they did lose to Grand Canyon one year, but usually they get that one tournament win and then kind of get handled in the second round, I feel like. So, I just think that the St. Mary's team is due to get one win. I'm going to pick them to beat Texas A&M, but this is just a crazy contrast in styles. But Houston versus Idaho, yeah, I'll look at Idaho for a second. Christian Gonzalez, don't know much about him. It seems like he's just a pure scorer, doesn't do much else. But Casey Flemings and Emmanuel Sharp, the two that show for Houston. Yeah, I think this Houston team, they just kind of improved all year. They've gotten better. And that's one of the things I think about. Like, even when they had that 3-game losing streak, they come back and, like, people don't understand. Like, and people probably do, but I don't know. That game versus Arizona was very, very competitive all throughout. In that game, and, you know, in the finals of the Big 12 tournament. But I think that this Houston team I don't think that they have the ceiling of winning a national championship like they did last year. I don't really see them doing that, but I see them advancing far. I kind of see them Sweet 16 to Final Four. I think they're going to lose in the Elite 8, maybe. Sweet 16, lowest, Final Four, farthest. I just think that this team is one of the teams I'm going to get close. I'm going to get them at least within one round of when they go out, is my prediction. And we are only halfway through the first round as we'll go up next to the Arizona side of the bracket, where I'll have them beating Long Island. Not much to talk about here. Then Villanova, Utah State. This is one of those. There's like 1 8-9 game a year that I'm just like, I feel like I know this team is going to win. This is that game this year. I just have a feeling Utah State's going to win. And I think Mason Falslev is obviously really good again. MJ Collins. I think that, Villanova kind of just benefited from a really bad Big East. And I mean, you see that notable results. Look at how many losses there are. They're like, what, 2-7 here or something like that in these notable results. Because, I mean, when they actually play good teams, they don't win. And I think Utah State kind of got a little bit screwed by their seeding. It was, I mean, I thought they should be a 7 seed, but the committee decides so. Wisconsin, it feels like every year that they are a fun team. They can have guards that can score the ball. Blackwell's been there a while now. And then it feels like every year they go on this run in the Big Ten tournament. And then they lose first or second round in a little bit of an upset. And I think we've seen a lot of these 12 seeds as of recent. Like these teams like High Point lose their first year and then get back their second year and be able to win. This team is nowhere close to the same roster as last year, which is a little, it's expected. I mean, you lose your coach, but at the end of the day, I'm going to take High Point. I just can't see Wisconsin winning this game. I don't really want to pick High Point. If I had a choice of a different team, I would. I just think Wisconsin's going to go out first round. And I think that people are so high on this team and think they can move on so far in the tournament. I disagree a little bit. Yeah, I really like Isaac Johnson for, what's his nickname? I think his nickname's like Big Fish or something. But I'm still gonna take Arkansas to win this game. Hawaii's notable results. Really competitive game against Oregon. Pretty competitive game against Arizona State. Those are two not very good high major teams. We'll move on. Yeah, I'm going to take Texas. And before we even get into the preview, Daylen Swain played really good recently. I think that Trayvon Mark, hits the game winner in that game versus why is my brain? NC State. AJ DeBonta is a really, really good basketball player. BYU is not a really, really good basketball team overall, especially without Richie Saunders. I still think Rob Wright's done a pretty good job this season, but they're notable results. They've lost almost all those games. And look at a team like Texas. They have two, but I'm gonna pick Texas. I think DeBonta could go for 35, 40, and it just may not matter. I'm gonna pick the Longhorns to move on in Sean Miller's first year. I'll click on it, especially because I don't want to. But Simeon Cottle seems to be pretty good for Kennesaw State. Again, I haven't watched much of them except for the conference championship game. But I'm going to take Gonzaga. Hopefully, at some point, Braden Huff can make it back. But EK is just like it, especially against some of these smaller schools that don't have great bigs. He's just so unstoppable. Miami versus Missouri. Yeah, Mark Mitchell versus Malik Reneau. This is going to be an exciting matchup. Yeah, Trey Donaldson's done a really good job. The Michigan transfer running this offense. I think Miami is a team that has been in a lot of close games this year. It feels like every game, it's just so close, and it's like down to the wire. And I think this one will be no different. But yeah, I'm gonna trust Mark Mitchell, and I'm not quite sure. Jai Lucas in his first year at Miami, they've been in a lot of close games. I feel like they've been on runs where they win a lot of them and they don't win a lot of them. But I'm going to trust Mark Mitchell and this, Missouri team's experience. And I also think that Jai Lucas being a first-year head coach, they usually don't do amazingly well. But, I did pick Iowa to win, so. But, this is his first year ever being a head coach after being a Duke assistant, so it is a bit different. But yeah, I'll take Missouri to move on. Purdue Queens. Yeah, this one, Purdue, I thought looked really good in the Big Ten championship game. And I was surprised that they came in and just handled Michigan like that. Queens, I believe I heard is like merging their schools, but not their athletics with Elon next year. That is weird. Go look that story up after this video is over. But I'm going to take Purdue to move on. Obviously, I think Purdue is the better team. What are Queens, some of their notable results? Yeah. They have one win on here, and that's against Lipscomb, who is an okay team. I believe they finished 4th in the ASUN and then lost to Florida Gulf Coast in the conference tournament. Okay, let's move down to the final first round region. This is going to be like an hour and a half video. So that is, I guess, exciting. Michigan Howard. Bryce Harris was super good yesterday in the play-in game. Cedric Taylor looks to be another really good player for them. Howard, that was their first ever tournament win. Exciting for, those players. But I'm going to take Michigan to move on. Oh, I didn't mean to click it already. I meant to click preview. But, spoiler alert, I will be picking St. Louis. Robbie Avdila has to win one game. And this team, they got Trey Green. They got, Brady Dunlap. They got, a guy like Ishan Shawarma. They got they can shoot the ball. I think Avdila has a lot of nicknames. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar being one of them. So, this kid, everybody knows who Robbie Avdila is now. But, Jeremiah Wilkerson has been really good for Georgia. Scoring the ball. I just think that this Georgia team has been a little inconsistent. There's games where I felt like they looked really good, and some games I felt like they looked not so good. I think this game could go either way, but I just want to see Robbie Avdila and, Josh Schertz and this St. Louis team. I want to see them get one game, at least one. And I know Michigan is a tall task in the second round, but I want to see him get at least one. And it looks like Georgia's picked by 69%. Is that what the people are saying, the public? I don't know. But I'm going to take St. Louis. Akron, Texas Tech. Yeah, the JT Toppin injury sucks. Obviously. It sucks that he can't be playing in this tournament. He was having such a good year. Just look at the stats. Tarveri Johnson, very, very good for Akron. One of the few players I actually did know about before, filming this video at the mid-major ranks, because I am trying to learn as much as I can about a lot of these mid-majors before the tournament started. But I think that this could definitely happen. It has a chance to happen. And I think Akron's been in the tournament a lot of years running. I don't know. I haven't loved how they've looked in a lot of these games. But look at their wins. Bowling Green, Kent State, JMU. I don't know if... I just think Christian Anderson might go crazy. I'm trying to find a way to pick Akron, but I think me not being able to just kind of says it all. I'm gonna pick Texas Tech. I want to pick Akron. I can't find a reason to pick Akron. Hofstra. You've seen all the clips of Speedy Claxton after they made the tournament, and then on CBS, the players tried to make an impression of him. Was that halftime of the A10 championship or something? I saw that clip too, though. But Cruz Davis, Preston Emneed too. He had a great conference championship game. And I believe Emneed hit the winner in the semifinals against, I believe it was Towson. Alabama, Aiden Holloway just got arrested. I just feel like things are... I love the vibes around Hofstra. I think things are, pointing their way, especially after Aiden Holloway gets arrested. Who knows if he'll play, but I don't think he'll be fully ready. Even if he does get a go, I'm going to take Hofstra. Is that a second 13 over 4 I've taken? Wait, let me look. Is it up here? Yeah, I took Cal Baptist, so I am taking a lot of upsets. Miami, Ohio, SMU. This game, between those two, and I'm picking the first 4 game, I think that SMU is probably going to win that. And then if they can get BJ Edwards back for the tournament, that'll be huge for them. But I like Tennessee too. I think Tennessee SMU will be a really competitive game because I'm picking SMU to beat Miami of Ohio. There's no preview to look at. This game, I think, could probably go either way, but I'm going to take Tennessee to advance. I just think that this Tennessee team has a lot of talent on their roster. Nate Ament, Jacoby Gillespie, and I think that I don't absolutely love how they've been playing recently, but I think they have to get a game, especially with SMU not being fully healthy, even if they do get BJ Edwards back. You're never at 100%, especially after an injury like that. But I just think that on Miami of Ohio, which I want to touch on them for a second, I'm glad they got in. I was a little surprised to see that they were the last team in, but, when they did the scrubbing process, I think is what they call it, they said that SMU, NC State, and Texas just scrubbed above Miami of Ohio, but they were not chosen as the very last team into the field. But they are the last team in. So, basically, they were like, Miami of Ohio, we know is going to be in the tournament. We just don't know where. And they ended up being the last team in. But they were chosen to be in before some of the other teams that are ahead of them. These other teams scrubbed above them is what they say. I think that's just when they go. And I'm not even really sure. I think Wright State's got a chance against Virginia, but I've been picking so many upsets. I like what Tester Ritter's been doing for Virginia. They got a lot of guys, and I was impressed with how they competed that game all the way through against Duke. It made it a bowl game till the end. I don't know if Wright State really has any standout guys that are really, really good and could take over a game. So I feel confident picking Virginia to get out of the first round. I have no idea how long I've been filming for, but it has been a while. Kentucky, Santa Clara. Yeah, Santa Clara, Christian Hammond, Elijah Mahi. They got some other guys like Alan Graves. I just think this team, they lack tournament experience. They got a lot of younger guys on their roster. And I just think that a guy like Denzel Aberdeen, that has won March Madness, a guy like Otega Owe, who's been in a lot of these moments, I think Kentucky gets it done. I really do. I think they win this game. And I know that may be unpopular. A lot of people are going to be taking the upset pick in Santa Clara, and I don't think it's technically an upset because it's not a 6 versus 11 because you need to be 5 separated in seeding. 5 seeds separate you, I think is how it works. But yeah, last game of the first round, Nolan Smith, the coach of Tennessee State. I could see this happening. And I could see this happening. I could see this upset. Iowa State is pretty inconsistent. I'm still going to take Iowa State, though. I'm not going to take 2 15-over-2s. I'm not going to do that. So I'm gonna move Iowa State on. Marshallevich, obviously, I mean, one of the best shooters we've ever seen in college basketball. And this team, if they get hot, they can do a lot. I mean, you saw the end of that Arizona game. Nobody can miss. That was a crazy, crazy game. Okay, Duke, Ohio State. Again, a lot of these picks get easier as we get more through the rounds. And we've already kind of looked at these teams, and I've kind of already talked about these teams. So at this point, I'll just be more picking the games. But I'm going to take Duke. I'm going to take Duke to advance. I feel like Duke's floor is the second round. I feel like Ohio State or TCU could get them, but I think it'd be very unlikely. Cal Baptist St. John's is interesting, but I think I'm going to pretty easily take St. John's. I just think that, Zuby Ejiofor has been so good, and I think this team, with a coach like Rick Pitino, is going to get hot at the right time, and they've already shown that against UConn. They had a really good game there. I think they're going to keep it going. I think they beat Cal Baptist, and I think that a lot of these 13 seeds that we see win don't really do so well in the second round. But obviously, Dominique Daniels is really, really good basketball player. I am seriously considering picking South Florida right now for this game against Michigan State. I don't know. South Florida's got really good vibes right now, but I think that they're going to keep this game really competitive. They might even have a lead at the end of the first half. I just think Michigan State, they got so many guys. Jackson Kohler, Carson Cooper, Jeremy Fears, Cohen Carr. I just think they're going to overpower them in the second half. And I think that it'll end up being like a 6-point win, maybe. I think it's going to be very competitive. I just think Michigan State is going to kind of overwhelm them in the second half. UCF Furman, hey, we've seen, when's the last time a 15 seed beat a 2 seed and then didn't advance to the Sweet 16? Well, I guess it's happened. I don't think Middle Tennessee did, but the last 3 or 4 times they've advanced to the Sweet 16, it's all about momentum. And I think, especially with it only being a 10 seed they have to beat, and UCF, who I do think has some guys like Themis Folks and is a good team, I just think Furman is going to get hot. Furman to the Sweet 16, my massive upset pick, as I have the Paladins moving on to the Sweet 16 of this year's tournament. Is this going to happen? We'll see, but got to pick stunning upsets sometimes. Okay, we'll go down in the bracket. Florida, Iowa. Now, this is another game. I just think Iowa... I think Iowa's going to win. Their slow pace of play and how good Bennett Sturts is. And you see how, when Vanderbilt beats them, you see how good Vanderbilt's guards are with, a guy like Duke Miles and Tyler Tanner. And, Iowa, they got the same experienced guards, and I like how, they've been playing recently. I know they haven't got wins, but that Michigan game was very, very competitive. That Ohio State game was very, very competitive. And I think Ohio State is way, way better than people give them credit for and how they're seeded. The Penn State game was obviously very concerning, but I haven't think that they've been playing absolutely incredible, but a lot better, I feel like, recently than the general public has been saying. But Vanderbilt, Nebraska, I'm so sorry. I want to pick you to go farther in Nebraska. I just can't see Nebraska beating Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt's criminally underseeded. I could see, Nebraska winning this game. I just think Vanderbilt's a better team. They got a lot of experience. And I think, especially, Vanderbilt made it last year. Tanner was on that team. And they got some of their other guys back. And I just think that Nebraska has really never been in these moments, so big moments for their program. And I think that it is more than enough having them get their first ever tournament win. Now, VCU, Illinois, this one's interesting. Again, I think this could be very competitive in the first half, and then I just kind of think Illinois overpowers VCU in the second half and gets the job done. But it'll end up being pretty competitive. Probably within 10. Do they have a projected spread here? They don't. But they say 83% odds to win. But yeah, I'm going to pick Illinois to move on. But I think it will be a competitive game. St. Mary's Houston, again. I've said that this one, it's kind of anti-climactic or whatever. There's not really... I've said earlier, St. Mary's is good for that one win probably, and then they're going to lose. And I've said Houston's making it to at least the Sweet 16. So if you've been listening to this whole podcast, you already know my pick, and it's Houston to advance on to the Sweet 16, and then we'll go back up here. Arizona, Utah State. Arizona's just so good. I can't see Utah State beating them. I'm going to move Arizona on pretty easily. High Point, Arkansas. I don't know. I think that this game would be competitive. And I could, unlike like Cal Baptist over St. John's or VCU over Illinois, I could see this happening. I don't know. I just think Darius Acuff and this Arkansas team are too talented, too good. And I just think eventually they're going to find a way. But this could be very competitive. Or Arkansas could completely destroy them. That could also totally happen. I could see the upset, but I'm going to pick the Razorbacks to move on. Texas versus Gonzaga. This one would be interesting. I think that Gonzaga gets the job done, though. Texas, I think it is more than enough to predict them, as I originally did, to beat NC State, which obviously I didn't get to predict that because not in the video, because that game already happened. But them winning 2 games is more than enough. I don't absolutely love this Gonzaga team, but I think I like them more than most people. So I'll move Gonzaga on, but that'd be an entertaining game, and I think Texas could keep it close, which is what I say for a lot of these games. I think Purdue just destroys Missouri. I do. I think this Purdue team, their experience, I don't know if I'm going to pick them. We'll have to see how the matchups go. Purdue is they're the 8th overall seed. Is that really a dark horse? They're my dark horse to win the national championship with how they've looked, with their experience, with how they've looked in these last couple rounds, especially in the Big Ten tournament. Yeah, I really like this Purdue team, and I think they're my dark horse to win the national title. But this is my last region of the second round. Yeah, I wanna move Robbie Avila and this St. Louis team on again. I just can't do it. Michigan's too good. I'll move them on. And then Texas Tech Hofstra. I almost feel like I've been picking too many upsets. I feel like Hofstra could do it. Preston Embiid, Cruz Davis. This team has got a great backcourt. And I think that there's less to worry about not having to match up with JT Toppin. And, you can see me here just trying to convince myself of why Hofstra can win this game. I just think kind of the winner gets the right to get destroyed by Michigan. I don't know. I feel like I've been picking too many upsets. I'm trying to convince myself, but I'm going to take Texas Tech. I'm going to take them to move on in this region. Still got 3 of the 4 1 seeds in the tournament. Tennessee, Virginia. As I don't know if you can hear my dog barking, but he is going crazy right now. But I'm not sure you can hear that. But hopefully not. They make the viewing experience not very pleasurable, but we'll keep moving on. Tennessee, Virginia. This game, I think, would be very, very close and very entertaining. I don't know. I just trust Rick Barnes, a guy like Jacoby Gillespie running the offense more than I do Ryan Odom in his first year. This Virginia team hasn't made the tournament in a couple years. They've got a lot of new guys on their roster that haven't really had this experience. A guy like Dallin Hall and some other guys have had experience in the tournament. I don't know. I trust Rick Barnes and Tennessee more, so I'm going to take them to move on. Stunner pick. I could stunningly pick Kentucky. I could. Oh, this is a really tough pick. I'll take Iowa State, but they are really inconsistent at times. I couldn't see them getting past they can maybe get to the Final Four. I don't know. But we are here. We're on to the Sweet 16, I believe. Yeah, we're on to the Sweet 16. Duke and St. John's. They have to have, I think they'll have Ngongba back by the second round, but they have to have him back, by the Sweet 16. They have to, right? And I think that will really help them, with Zuby Ejiofor and Bryce Hopkins. Because this St. John's team is big. I think that Cameron Boozer take over a game at any time. I just think Duke, I really can't really see them losing. I'm going to take them to move on. Michigan State Furman, I think it's where the magical run ends. I do think the magical run for the Furman Paladins, for Alex Wilkins, for a guy like, what's his name? I'm going to look it up. Cooper Bowser, yeah. Why can I just not, you see, I try my best. Because I'll know what a player is and his skill set and his strengths because I'll watch, the tape of these mid-majors and then I'll just forget their name for some random odd reason. I don't know if that's exactly what happened with Cooper Bowser, but it annoys me sometimes because I'm like, I literally study these guys. Anyway. I don't know, I usually go down here for the next region. Iowa, Vanderbilt. I'm taking Vanderbilt. I just think the reason that I picked them to barely beat Florida is the reason that they kind of destroyed Florida. So I'm going to take them. Again, I think it's just the guard play being so good and this Florida team, they've improved their backcourt so much with Klavjar and Xavier Lee and Boogie Flan, but it's still not amazing. Illinois, Houston, this is the biggest toss-up at the tournament for me. It really is. This game could totally go either way. I think most people would pick Houston in this situation, and honestly, I am going back and forth on who I want to pick. Oh, this is tough. I don't know who to roll with. This is hard. I think that these two teams would make for a really interesting matchup. I think it's about a 50-50. I don't know. I think that Houston, I just think is slightly more experienced. They got so many returners from that team that made the national championship. I think they're bound to eventually get one. I'm going to have them moving on, but I think Illinois can win that game. Totally. Arizona, Arkansas. This goes, I feel like, one of two ways. Darius Acuff has 45 points and Arkansas wins in overtime, or Arizona wins by about 25. I don't know. This one is tough. I'm going to pick Arizona. I just think there are more ways Arizona wins. And I'd be pretty surprised if Arkansas wins. But I think if Acuff goes crazy, they got a shot. And then Gonzaga, Purdue. I'm going to pick Purdue to advance. I think they do. This is getting more chalky as the rounds go on. But I am going to pick Purdue to move on. Not very chalky having Vanderbilt in the Elite Eight. But I'm going to take Michigan over Texas Tech. It's probably going to be a destroying. And then I'm going to do it. I think Iowa State's inconsistent. And this Tennessee team has got a lot of talent. And I think that they haven't really been able to put it together recently. But I was talking about it. Jacoby Gillespie has been awesome. The Maryland transfer averaging 18 and about six assists. And Nate Ahmet has really came on closer to the end of the season. And after not having the greatest start for the third or fourth? No, fourth, because Boozer was 3. but in the freshman rankings. So I'm gonna take Tennessee. I think I'm gonna take Tennessee. Am I going too crazy with these picks? We do have at least a 2 seed in all of these, and then a 1 seed in 3 of the 4. Duke versus Michigan State. I just think that Duke's the better team. I'm going to advance them to the Final Four. Then I'm going to take... This Arizona team is so good, but I kind of want to take Purdue. Oh, man, I don't know. I'm going to take... It has been so hard for Arizona to get back to like a Final Four. Like I feel like they've choked it every time they've been a high seed. And I just feel like with the experience of this Purdue group, they're going to get a big win. I think it comes here. I'm going to take Purdue. I'm going to take Purdue to the Final Four. I really liked how they looked, even though I was the biggest Purdue hater at a point in this season, which makes me look really bad. But Vanderbilt, Houston, I think I'm going to take Houston to win that game. Michigan versus Tennessee, I'm going to take Michigan to win that game. Those are 2 easier picks for me. Final Four, 2 1 seeds, 2 2 seeds. Here in Indianapolis. Purdue, they got the home court advantage. We'll start with the Duke-Houston game. I feel like that... I don't know. I feel like Duke gets the job done. I just think this Duke team is too good, and I don't think Houston is getting past the Final Four. And I said that. And it depends on how the rest of the games would go and the kind of the matchup. But I said that I didn't think they would be getting past the Final Four. I thought matchup-based, they could get to the Final Four. I don't know if I would have picked them over Florida, but I did over Vanderbilt. And then Purdue, Michigan. I'm gonna pick Michigan. I know, like this is at Purdue's. This is at home for Purdue in Indianapolis. And they get here. This is their moment for all their seniors. I just think Michigan's too good. I think their bigs are just kind of going to be too good. I mean, I'm trying to convince myself of why Purdue could win this game because it'd be cool for that to be the way. Kaufman Red, Lawyer, Braden Smith go out. I don't know. Final, Michigan versus Duke. I feel like every year Duke, they go the 1 year to the round of 32, and then they skip the Sweet 16 and go to the Elite 8, then the Final Four, and I think it continues. This year they're going to go to the championship game and lose. They literally, every year since 2023, with when John Shire took over for Coach K, round of 32 exit, they skipped the Sweet 16. That's the only place they skipped. But then Elite 8, Final Four, championship game, and I think they lose. I just think this Michigan team... I accidentally clicked on Duke. I think this Michigan team... I'm picking Michigan to win the whole thing. That's my pick. Over Duke in the national title game. It is so hard to get a perfect bracket. I questioned so many of my picks. But I'm going to submit this. And then... Well, we can just go back. I will put in my login information right when this is over. I'm not sure why I didn't do that before this started, but I will do that right when this video gets over, and I will submit this. Well, I don't know what I'm going to have it under, but I'll put it in like the comment section or maybe the description. Just look in those places because I'll put what my bracket's under. But I don't know if I will because I don't know if that helps because I don't think you can see them on ESPN Tournament Challenge before the bracket starts. Well, I still probably going to do it. Anyway, I mean, I've probably been out here filming for almost an hour. This was so fun to do. My March Madness predictions are officially in. I've got Michigan over Duke. Let's go. March Madness is here, and bye.